Hi all, welcome to General Chemistry 139, which is General Chemistry Prep. My name is Lee West. You can call me Lee or Dr. West or Dr. Lee, however you feel comfortable, that's fine. Just a little bit of a background on what General Chemistry Prep is all about. So General Chemistry Prep serves as the prerequisite for the General Chemistry sequence, which is normally taken by STEM majors and people that want to become scientists, engineers, doctors, vets, dentists, things like that. Or, sometimes people just take it for fun. And the general chemistry sequence, which is a year-long sequence, is the prerequisite for the organic chemistry sequence, which is another year-long sequence. So if you're a STEM major and you know that you need to take general chemistry and organic chemistry, then you're on the right track. How you could potentially be off track is if you are an allied health major, and perhaps the most common of these majors would be nursing, then you actually want a different chemistry pathway. So if you're uncertain about whether Gen Chem Prep is the right class for you, just have a chat to me and we can work it out for you. Okay, so let's get kind of the bare bones out of the way. As I mentioned, my name is Lee West. I have an office in the Library and Science Building. It is room 131, and that's in the basement. You need to walk through a door into a group of offices. There's a little reception area there, but you don't need to check in with the reception before coming through to my office or anything like that. You can just come through, tap on the door, and if I'm able to see you, I'll see you there and then. I have an office phone, and you're welcome to leave a message, and I'll also be able to access that message remotely, and I'll get an email saying that you left a voice message. So if that's what you prefer to do, then phone away. You can message me in Canvas, but you can also message me via email. And I found that if you want to send me a draft of your work, for example, and you want to include a large attachment, then sometimes email can be a little bit more reliable than Canvas messaging. So just keep that in mind. I have office hours 3 days a week at 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. That's just kind of penciled in at the moment, and if that's not convenient for folks, then we can change it. There are a few items that you will need. We're going to be using an online textbook, and that's available for free. And there's details about how you can access that on our Canvas page. So that'll be in the week 0 area. You have to have a basic scientific calculator or some kind of equivalent device. So one option here would be an emulator, either on your computer or on your phone. It is worth thinking about buying a scientific calculator because you will need one for the general chemistry sequence, which typically isn't offered online. The one thing that you do absolutely have to pay for is access to the ALEX online system that we're going to be using for a significant amount of our homework and also for our quizzes and tests. This normally runs around $40 to $50 for the quarter. It kind of depends. I've posted some information that will give you free access for 2 weeks while you work out payment if that's going to be an issue for you. And if you think that beyond that 2 weeks you're going to have trouble paying for ALEX, just let me know as soon as you can, and we can often work something out for you. You need this 10-digit code that I've put in all caps here to enroll in the class, and that code is also on Canvas and in the syllabus. Okay, so there are a few things that you have to do every week, and one of them is reading assignments. So every week you're going to be given reading assignments that is material from the online textbook. The same content is also covered in the videos that I've posted, and I recommend looking at the videos in addition to reading the book. Looking at the videos and reading the book is going to make ALEX go so much quicker. So, please look at both of them if you can. Now, you will be each week making notes using the Cornell system just to make sure that you really did review that content. You'll scan that, you'll make a PDF of your written work, and you'll upload that to Canvas. Now, your work should be neat and organized. It should be a single file, not one file for each page. You should have everything in the correct orientation. The pages should be ordered correctly. And, it has to be of sufficient quality that I can actually read it. The edges shouldn't be cut off. It should look like a decent piece of work. We're asking for this to be handwritten. And just because in the past people had just kind of like taken advantage of just cutting and pasting from websites, which is not what we really want you to do. It just should be a good set of solid notes that's going to help you review for things like the final and your major tests. And hopefully what you're really doing is creating an asset that is going to serve you well. This isn't intended to be busy work. This is something that is hopefully helping you in your studies. Every week, you'll be assigned what are called objectives in ALEX, and to complete an objective, you typically have to answer 3 questions in a row correctly on a given topic. These assignments are graded for completion, so that means that you can attempt each topic as many times as you want. That kind of creates a little bit of an issue in that you can waste a lot of time on those problem sets if you just jump in without really looking at the content and thinking about the content. So, make sure that you kind of really understand the material before you begin ALEX, or otherwise ALEX becomes a major time sink. Now, the number of topics that you're going to get assigned each week, it varies across the quarter. So what I recommend you do is look at the beginning of the week as to how many topics that you're going to need to complete that week. Divide that number of topics by 5, and then hold yourself to making certain that you do that number of problems each day. I think the single biggest mistake that people make in this class is that they attempt to complete the ALEX objectives in one day, often on the weekend when there's no help available, and they get stuck, right? And then they're kind of they're in trouble. So in week 1, we actually have quite a lot of objectives. There's a lot of little topics, and I recommend that you start on the ALEX assignment as soon as you can in week 1. For week 1, I would recommend doing about 5 topics a day. Okay, so most weeks we have quizzes administered through ALEX. They are 10 problems, and they're just kind of 10 random problems selected from the objectives that you've been working on that week. In addition to completing the quiz in ALEX, I want you to upload a PDF of your written work to Canvas within 15 minutes of completing the quiz. People often forget this in the first week. And this written work should show how you arrived at each of your answers. It's not just necessarily math. It can be like, verbal reasoning as to how you arrived at your answers. That's important for us to be able to illustrate to somebody our thinking as a scientist. And this work should be in a neat and organized manner. It doesn't have to be in order, but it should be clearly labeled what your work is referring to with respect to what question number, etc. Some weeks we have 3 of these, so we have 11 weeks, so only 3 times does this happen. We're going to have case studies, which are sets of problems focused on a particular scenario. You read about the scenario and then you answer a bunch of questions about it. These are generally written answers. You're just going to write your work up and then make a PDF of that work and upload it to Canvas. Again, things should be neat and organized, and it should look like a piece of college level work. You'll have 3 tests scattered moderately evenly throughout the quarter that will be given through the ALEX system. These tests are 20 questions and they cover sort of multiple weeks worth of work. I normally send out an announcement explaining exactly what the test is going to cover in the week of that test. And just like our quizzes, in addition to completing the test on Alex, you want to upload a PDF showing your work in a clear and organized manner. These PDFs need to be uploaded within 15 minutes of completing the test on Alex. So you can't do the test one day and then upload your notes the next. That's not what this is about. This is the work that you did as you were doing the test. Now, it is important because it's this work that you upload to Canvas that I'm going to be grading, and this is also what allows me to give you feedback on where you're going wrong and where you need to improve, and figure out what you're having trouble with. But most importantly, it allows me to assign partial credit to your work. Alex won't assign partial credit, and so your score can often jump by 20, 30%. Not always, but it can jump by a significant amount once I apply that partial credit, which Alex is unable to do automatically. There'll be a final exam also administered through the Alex system. Again, you need to upload a document that shows how you arrived at each answer. It's in your interest to keep this organized, to have everything clearly labeled, because it's what I'm going to be using to assign partial credit for your work. So they're kind of the different types of assignments. There's the reading assignments, there's the Alex objectives, case studies, quizzes, tests, etc. So how does it kind of all go together across each week? So the first part of the week is what I'm imagining you're doing is studying the content, right? And this is where you're making those Cornell notes. Something that I really want you guys to recognize as being important with these notes is to make sure you include plenty of example problems. A lot of people forget to do that, right? So the first part of the week, you're studying the content. The middle part of the week, sort of Wednesday to Saturday, is the maximum amount of time that you have for this, is you're practicing applying the content. This is when you're going to be doing those Alex objectives and those case studies. So the Alex objectives are due on Saturdays and the case studies are due on Fridays. I should point out that the Cornell notes are due on Tuesdays each week. Now, what have you got to do once you've kind of studied the content, practice applying the content? That's when you have to demonstrate whether you learn anything, and that's what our quizzes, tests, and the final are all about. And these guys are all due Sunday midnight, okay? So that's our pattern. Beginning part of the week, you study the content. Middle part of the week, you practice applying it. End of the week, you get tested on it, right? So it follows the same pattern week after week. And so I think that what's really key to success in this class is doing a little bit of work every day and having a plan for the week. If you kind of just go, oh, most of it seems to be up here, I won't bother with this, then this stuff up here takes forever, right? And you make a lot of mistakes and it's really frustrating, especially if you leave everything for the weekend when you can't get any help. Getting help really, really speeds things up for folks. All right, well, that's my overview of the class. If you've got any questions, just send me an email and I'll be glad to help you.